So, I guess what I'm really trying to say is, hello and thank you for joining us for another episode of TESOCast, a live one. Hey, look at that. I am, as always, Road, the ever angry. And with me today, we have Carlos of Legend Gaming and Vokandine, also known as Alistair. I got that one backwards. Alright. Hey, Carlos, what's going on? Don't argue with me.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
We're live.
I'm on the chat as well. It's live. Oh my god, we're doing it live.
We'll do you live! Alright, that's what it sounded like in my head when he said that. I don't know why. It's because he's a giant, and he's muscly, and anyway.
Yeah, totally. I'm like this, The Rock, Brazilian version.
That's actually pretty accurate, yeah?
Not.
Didn't he do a... I think he did a movie in Brazil. But aside from that, someone who didn't do a movie in Brazil is a giant, but isn't a muscly one. Ryan of TESOLEad.com. What's up?
How do you know I'm not muscly?
I just made the assumption, and seeing that you
voice.
got so offended by it,
Hey.
I'm pretty much true.
I am muscly.
Okay. Are you?
A little bit.
Okay. So, what's going on?
Nothing. Nothing. They're opening up a new inn in town.
No,
Just down the street.
we're not going there. We're not going there!
I don't think they picked the name, though, but I put a name in.
The Naked North Shanty? Alright, fantastic. So,
Other than the new inn that's opening up down the street, it's been a pretty eventful week. Got some new projects on the way that are coming out shortly, so anybody that follows me, they'll be really excited in the next couple weeks. So,
stalkers beware. They're meant for you. Alright.
Nudies coming out, you know.
And a little less creepy on the creep scale is Ethan of Tamriel Foundry and also Legend Gaming. Ethan, what's going
That's
on?
still creepy.
Okay, a little
Not
bit.
much. I'm a lot less creepy than him, thank you.
A lot less, but you're still creepy.
Everybody's creepy in their own way.
I find anyone that wears shades creepy, just by nature.
You want to know creepy? Ask Carlos for some mods.
I'll send you some mods that will blow your mind.
The
Yeah.
only thing they'll blow.
So, Ethan, redeem this. It's already gone to a dark place. Nothing. You can't redeem this at all?
There is no.
Well,
It's
apparently, since we're doing this live show where I can't curse and you can't bleep me out, I'm just scared to talk the entire time.
That's very reassuring. You know, the I don't know if you know this, but part of the being in the podcast verse is that you need to talk, so you have to get over that fear really quick, because the last part of the show kind of depends on you, man.
Don't worry, you already heard me get a beer.
Oh, did I? Oh, is that what I was hearing earlier? Oh, fantastic.
You have a fridge that close to... Oh, no. Never mind.
Your girlfriend will never let that happen.
Yeah.
She'd never see you again.
I do, though.
Well, I'm talking about his girlfriend. Ryan's.
Hey,
Oh.
she
Yeah.
doesn't see me now.
Oh, well. Fair enough.
I live in the basement.
Where you
Not
belong.
at my mother's house. It's my own house.
Well, that solves that mystery. So, for other places
put
you
that
can
up.
find us aside from Ryan's basement, wow, that actually sounded a lot more creepy than it intended to. You can go to twonkhammer.com, twitter.com/TESOCast, twitter.com/twonkhammer, facebook.com/twonkhammer, rate, hate, and subscribe on iTunes. And if you'd like to help us out in any way, shape, or form, Ryan, what can they do? That's dead air. You want to mention every part of the episode when I actually call on you to do it. You can't do it?
Do what? I have no idea. What, you can't just.
Where can you get a free audiobook, Ryan?
Oh, you do that?
Yeah, you do that. You can go to twonkhammer.com/audible to get your free 30-day trial and one free token for one free book.
A free book?
It's
That's kinda
free.
cool.
It's completely free. All you have to do is make an account. Yeah,
That's cool. Do they have an Elder Scrolls book?
they do. They have actually 2 of them. They're fantastic reads, or listens, as the case may be.
Cool. I'll
Yeah,
have to look into that.
yeah. I hate you so much. Well, here we are again. Welcome to the live show. And as for that today's date is... I forgot already. Oh, Middas. There we go. It's Wednesday, isn't it? Middas. Yes. Which would be the 4th of Hearthfire. I almost said Hearthstone. That's not exactly where we are.
It's about the same thing.
Close enough.
It does. It's such a creative name. You know, it's not like it's the mid of the week or anything.
Well, I think it's more creative than, you know, Fredos. But I'm glad it's not Fredos, because I always think I say that wrong. Anyway, so here we are. We're on a live show. And we've got notes and lots of news to get to. So how about we go ahead and just start getting into that, since we're already kind of off base. Well, it's decent.
PAX
So
Prime was full of news.
Was it? Was it really?
So much news.
To be fair, we still got PAX news coming out.
Of news.
Yeah.
We got the important news, alright?
I know a site that got news.
I hope so. That'd make things real weird if you didn't.
Insert here.
No. Insert near the rear of the show. Wait a second. Anyway, you can go to the Tamriel Chronicle, issue number 22, where you can find a video of our own Ryan being tired at 3 o'clock in the morning discussing things in regards to MMOs in general. Right?
And you
Hey, it
can
was a
see
good
his
comment.
muscly on that video, can't you? There is evidence.
There's proof!
Go see it now.
Thank you, Carlos. I didn't even think about that.
Hate you, Carlos.
His proof is in the picture of the show.
But yeah, anyways, go see it now. You'll see. I'm huge. I'm buff.
You can take his word
He
for it.
flexes even when he doesn't mean to. It's
So,
awesome.
That sounds a little intrusive on your day. I'd hate that. Anyway. So, aside from that, The Elder Scrolls Online is running an emote creation contest. And, well, long story short, I think it's you submit a 60-second video of your emote that you would like to get into the game. Yeah? Is that it?
Really? I saw the contest. I don't really know the details. I was kind of upset that they released an entire list of all the slash commands.
Slash beat shield.
Yeah,
the
I want that
the
one.
worst part was that I was getting so excited. It was like slash hammer low, and I'm like, yes, here comes slash hammer dance, and it's not in. So if you're out there and you're thinking of contributing to this emote contest, that had better be your contribution. There is a hammer dance.
The only downside to that is it'll be a direct ripoff of WoW.
We totally
The orc
need to
dance.
have a slash Gangnam style.
You know, I'm pretty much with that one. Naked
I can
Nord
hear
doing
all the
Gangnam
lore
style
people
all
crying
around.
right now.
Yeah,
That's no
it's
longer
like
relevant.
all the role players
That's
are
no
like,
longer relevant. It needs to be a Miley Cyrus twerking dance.
No! No!
I have to agree. We got to go with some turkey butt.
No, we
Gangnam
don't.
Style is totally whatever last year was, 2012.
Thank you for that, I guess. So, if you would like to get your video submitted to the Elder Scrolls Online, you can do so by sending it to community@elderscrollsonline.com. Get your submissions in by Friday, September 27th. That is the deadline. Any entries submitted after that date will not be reviewed. So make sure you get all of your Gangnam Style submissions in before then. If Gangnam Style doesn't win, I'm going to be very disappointed in this community. I'm not being sarcastic at all. I would love to see that in the game. Especially since King Emmerich is already very upset with the horde of naked Nords that I've apparently inspired to be on the borders of his lands.
You know, Switchblade in the chat, one of our TF members, is actually suggesting slash plank, which I think is a great idea. And you could just go planking all over Tamriel. I love that idea.
I think I'd actually more like Trust Fall. You know, just walk up to some random player, do Trust Fall, and see if they can type in /catch fast enough. I don't know. Maybe it should be.
That would be cool if it was even remotely possible.
I
that
think
would
it's
be-
possible. This is 2013 or 2014 by the
Without
time the game
collision
comes out.
detection, it's not possible.
It could happen. Do not doubt them.
But it would be really cool.
It would be cool. So,
And
see,
if they do it, they get like some sort of bonus.
we could show the strength of the community of the Ebonheart Pact and just do a massive video of like 1,000 players doing, or 200 players anyway, because we can only show
If it
200
was
at
that
once.
other crappy game, they would get social
Yeah.
points.
only 200 on the screen at the same time, man.
200 still good, all right. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's you know, like, depending on the camera angle, it's gonna look like a sea of people, dude.
All of them doing trust falls. Although if everyone did trust falls, that'd be weird because it's just you'd see everyone fall over. So I guess it'd have to be
So-
half the people.
On the
I
topic
would
of
use
the
it as a
contest,
feigned death in PvP.
on the topic of this contest, what happens if... What was that? What happens if two
aliens.
people submit the same thing?
I don't know.
Because I mean, this
The
slash blank
universe
idea is a
explodes in a
wicked idea.
paradox.
Who wins though?
What do you think happened?
I would say the
to
better
you?
of the two videos, because even if they're like the same video or the same quote unquote animation, one would just be superior to the other. Unless, of
Alright,
course,
so
it was two
if
people
you're gonna
involved
submit
and they both
something-
submitted it.
If you're gonna submit something, make sure you're cosplaying at the same time. Therefore, you're gonna counter anybody else that's just doing regular crap.
And have a
Especially
Dova Kitty
if
in the
you're hot.
background.
If you're a hot girl, it's gonna work better.
It's true.
There we
It
go.
always work better on YouTube and stuff.
Alright, there's my cue to move on. So, get that done. Next up, we have Ryan's favorite section of the show. Ask Us
What?
Anything Variety Pack number 6.
Oh shit, there's an Ask Us Anything?
I didn't read it either.
Congratulations, you get to read it live! How fun for you!
What?
Good life.
You don't
Good
edit
life.
it out anyways. You just edit yours.
Maybe.
You leave my screw-ups for everybody to know about. Yours are perfect.
Oh no, I'm far from perfect. In fact, we're going to go ahead and get started right now. I'll start us off, and I'll screw it up right off the bat. So, moving into the first question. How will using a stealth-based character be viable in player versus player combat in ESO? In previous Elder Scrolls games, stealth was represented by an eye, which displayed whether you were detected or not. Your character wasn't invisible. How am I supposed to sneak up on another player who can easily spin their character's view around without being detected? By Daniel McCarty. I wonder if that second C was supposed to be capitalized. If not, whatever. If you are in stealth, you will be invisible to enemy players unless they detect you. It will take more than just a casual look in a stealth player's direction to uncover them. During a recent playtest, one of our developers was ambushed by a hidden enemy. It was a very effective tactic. The ambusher, there we go, see, I screwed up, there you go. Feel better now, Ryan? I hope so. The ambusher took advantage of the fact that his target wasn't being cautious and using the Mage Light ability, which I assume means they reveal stealth characters nearby, which would have thwarted the ambush. So there you go. First question's out of the way. You get to be invisible! Honestly, who didn't see that
That's
one
awesome.
coming?
I don't do the sneaking thing. As a Dragon Knight, I'll probably people will see me coming from a mile away, and that's what I want to happen. But yeah, great.
Here's how it's going to work. The Naked Nord's going to charge in there, get everyone's attention. Then Carlos is going to come running in as the giant armored guy that pounds people in the face. And while they're all turning their defenses toward Carlos, because they realize they don't need to really pay attention to me, that's when Asari pops out of stealth, kills Ryan instantly because he'll be on the other side. And then while they're trying to fend off Asari, or Ethan as it were, that's when I come in as the Naked Nord, hack everyone's heads off and win the day. No?
That sounds like a plausible scenario. Yeah.
I think
No,
it is.
doesn't. I don't think it's plausible that you're going to kill anybody in first-person view.
I will do it! I will do it in
Not
spite
only
of that.
First-person view, but he's also naked.
Mostly.
And
I
he's
have boots on.
watching all of the kill cameras, like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that hit.
He's
He
taking
won't be getting
the
any
whole
kill
time
cameras.
he's
Those
dying.
things are skill-based.
I will, if I charge up alone, I'll probably, at this point, I'll probably be running and screaming, heal me, heal me. But, that's just the way it is.
So
All right.
just on the topic of the stealthy thing, they kept saying stealth, 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 and then sneak. Is sneak going to be stealth in PvP?
I
Because
would
as we
assume
saw
so.
at QuakeCon, sneak and stealth are two different things.
They are.
Huh.
I don't think
Explain.
Well, when we saw in the QuakeCon video, you saw him sneaking, like hitting control and sneaking around,
Yeah.
but the enemy saw him. He wasn't stealth.
Well,
Oh.
maybe he just got
If he
spotted.
stood in
Because he
front of the
was-
enemy, so it's a sneak, he's not stealth.
No, I think he was just spotted. I mean, it's not going to guarantee
Yeah.
you're invisible. It's just, you have that chance of not being detected.
Well, they did
Yeah.
kind of choose a different wording for it when they're talking about PvP here. I'd want a larger sample size of them talking about stealth than just, maybe some random intern saying stealth instead of sneak before I drew anything out of that. But I guess it's possible. I mean, I guess I would expect PvP and PvE stealth to work slightly differently, which we heard a little bit about from, PAX East
Yeah.
forever ago.
I don't see why it would work too differently. I mean, if you just crouch and then the little eye appears and you kind of sneak around people And if they detect you, you show up, just like rogues and other games, like you'll see that, transparent shade of the person approaching, and then you can target them and hit them, and they get out of sneak. Or, if you don't see them, then you don't see them, and they show up when they attack you or something. I don't see why sneak and stealth would be different, but, that would be something interesting if it were. I mean, I wonder what the difference is, honestly.
I don't think there is any. I think it's just a matter of phrase. I mean, they both essentially mean the same thing, so I think it's just the way it was phrased. I think you're looking way too...
Sneak and stealth are two different words.
I think you're looking too far into it.
Maybe stealth is just, like, you got stealth mechanics with skills. Like, you use a skill and then you get invisible for a while. That's stealth. And then sneak is, like, the natural ability that every character has. I don't know.
Either way, I think we should move on to the next question. And with that, Ryan, you're up. I gave you the short one. Quit complaining.
It's still a long question.
Well, they're all like that, so you'll have to get over it.
And there's like character names in here that I have no idea how to pronounce.
Only the Americans are allowed to complain about reading?
Yeah, because we're terrible
I'm
at it.
America's hat, so screw you.
Technically, it's part of America. Then again, technically, so is South America. So, technically, we're all Americans here.
Technically, the whole world is in America.
Since the players will be once grounded, what's the point of even having the NPC faction leaders Queen Aaron, High King Emmerich, and Jerome the Scout King? I think they should have more to do with the throne instead of the players. I mean, I like the idea of a player being an emperor, but what's their role in all this? Oh, Jesus. I really read this question by Lifer187. There are always monarchs and leaders of other nations while an emperor sits on the ruby throne. And this time period is no different. Okay.
Well,
I mean, really? I mean,
That pretty much applies to real life as well.
I mean, does he even understand what the point of the emperor is?
I think he's from London.
Well, I don't think that makes sense because we have a parliament over there.
I don't know why the devs choose those questions to answer. I mean,
Well, they
really,
don't want to answer the ones that require them to give us new information.
Yeah. I mean, but this is not even an interesting question.
They're just not ready to talk about stuff yet.
That's a lie. You
Although
got some
I would agree
information.
that I don't find this question interesting either, but
I don't find half these questions.
I mean, it's a variety pack. They're going to have to throw in some lore questions. Even though
Yeah,
the rest of us are like, give me PvP information. And maybe it's because it opened up with talking about, a PvP mechanic with the Emperor that we're kind of like, wow, this got disappointing fast.
Yeah, whatever. Let's go to the next one because this question doesn't even deserve our time.
All right. Fine. Moving on.
Alright, I'll take this one, damn it. I noticed in the QuakeCon video that a significant amount of seemingly precise aiming is required in combat. No, it's not. My internet connection isn't the best in the world, and when playing multiplayer first-person games, enemies tend to jump around the screen a bit by a better internet, resulting in a few hits for me and in the associated frustration. How forgiving will aiming be in ESO? We try to be fairly forgiving in the amount you have to aim, but you definitely have to aim. Thanks. You'll need to be aiming at or very close to the target when you attack or use an ability. So the question was, what happens in leg? And their answer was, you'll have to aim.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it depends on your hand-eye coordination, really. I mean, for some people, aiming is going to be super easy. For others, it's going to be harder. I mean, it's kind of complicated.
I mean, all I want to really sum this question up...
Be terrible at aiming.
Well, back in the days of 56K when I had a Pentium 3 and I was playing Starseed's Tribes online against other people, you want to talk about having bad internet and trying to aim in a first-person shooter type environment? You literally had to predict where they were going to lag-aport, that's lag teleporting, on your screen, and fire to maybe make contact. After a while, you just become a pro at it.
Not only am I surprised other people played that game with you, but I'm surprised there was enough people in that game to make up their own language. Lagaport?
Lagaport.
Pretty sure rubber band is the word you're looking for.
No, Lagaport.
Yeah. This game is so big, we're gonna have our own language.
I mean, come on. Everyone's favorite term in that game was Shazbot, so Eh,
What? Is
exactly.
that a sex thing?
No. It's actually
Those
came
are
from
mainstream.
Mork and Mindy, I believe. Yeah, that's right. Alright, fine. Moving on. Ethan, you're up.
Huh?
Thanks for paying attention, Ethan.
Oh, wait, I actually forgot the most important thing to say about that last question is what video was he watching where it required a significant amount of seemingly precise aiming?
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see that video. I saw a very, very forgiving as long as you were looking in the general direction of someone, they were red highlighted.
Yep.
But precision
That's what
was
I saw
not...
as well.
Yeah, okay, good. We're on the same page there. Okay,
Yep.
question.
It didn't look like any first-person shooter type gaming.
Yeah, they could probably rubber band and you'd still hit them.
Yeah.
Especially if you used the soft lock.
Big question though is, did they compensate for heat-seeking missiles?
Magic missile?
Yeah, the heat seekers. That's gonna suck if I shoot somebody and then the arrow is following them.
I don't think that'll be the
Well,
case.
played-
With the dodge
It
system
does.
in place, I don't think that'll ever be a problem.
Well, it does bend to follow. You could definitely see that in
So,
the
Ryan,
Waycon's
I'll make a mod where you have like a plain interface with an aim lock. You know, it's gonna be beep, 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 just for you.
That would be amazing.
That would be pretty amazing. You should make that.
Yeah, totally like Ace Combat.
Oh!
Go Star Fox style.
Alright,
Yeah.
move on to the next question before we get stuck on this.
Okay. Because we were going to talk about Carlos's mods, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, just being clear.
I didn't tell the shape of the thing.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. This is dangerous.
I can just see you sitting there right now being scared because you can't edit out the things we say. But anyway, moving on.
Oh, I can edit it out,
And-
but yeah, just not live.
Only afterwards.
Yeah.
Can you expand more on picking a role when players sign up to find a group for a dungeon? Every player will assess what role they feel they can perform in the dungeon. If you feel you would be best at damage dealing role, pick that. If you think you could do all three, then by all means, pick all three. There are icons you select to let people looking for others know that what roles you think you could fill. We understand that people might not be as accurate with their assessment of their own skills as others might like, but we feel it's more important for the community to have control over the tools instead of using an arbitrary rule system that might not work well with our more open-ended advancement.
This is so dangerous.
I don't know.
So do you know what I?
Once again, Trinity Combat is confirmed.
Yeah. Do you know what I read when in this?
Some people haven't gotten that yet.
I read something in between the lines here. Basically, they said, yes, expect to see, you picked the fucking healer, you suck!
Exactly.
And
Like,
there
oh,
we
I'm
go.
gonna pick healer, join the group faster, and then people get in the group with the healer icon by their, party name on the interface or whatever, and then they don't heal very well.
Yeah.
And, but that's,
you picked the
that's just
tank,
part
you're
of
wearing
them.
slot blade armor with a destruction staff. What are you doing?
All this shows is that people like me, when they're having a bad day, which I seem to have more and more of here recently, is I'm going to run in there as the Naked Nord. I'm going to pick all three roles. I'm just be like, alright guys, I don't need you. I'm the entire group on my own tank, healer, and DPS. Just leave. It's going to happen.
That sounds legit, dude.
It does.
Totally community oriented.
Exactly.
Well, looking at the skill tree, I mean, anybody can be a healer, so healers really aren't important, so...
See, and I still think that if you are not a Templar or have a Restoration staff, you should not be able to pick healer. Period.
I agree.
That's just how it is. Anyway,
But the game wouldn't be open in that case, so you can't do that.
then the game's going to be increasingly frustrating. Alright, moving on to the next question.
Back in
Make
WoW,
sure
I
you
used
have 3 friends.
I
Yeah.
used to queue for heroics as a
Healer?
I was a rep paladin. I would queue as a tank, but I would do it with my raid healer. So we were bypassing we were getting quicker tank and healer queues because of that when I wasn't actually a tank, but the healer I brought with me could heal me through that stuff anyway because WoW's easy and has item
Yeah.
bloat. But I mean, there are situations where abusing that type of thing might be fine. You know, maybe you have a really crazy Dragon Knight self-healing tank
Yeah.
that's
I've,
super
you know,
geared and wants to queue
before-
for dungeons and knows he doesn't need a healer anyway.
Before Dungeon Finder, I did some Warlock tanking on Burning Crusade, but then Wrath of the Lich King, that wasn't possible anymore because they nerfed us. But yeah, sometimes you can be creative.
You were disgustingly overpowered.
I was. It was just like drain life. Don't kill me. I mean, the aggro was still a problem. Sometimes I would have to Hellfire, but then I would die faster.
Alright, moving on to the next question. Will there be conjuration? For example, Atronox, Necromancy, and banned weapons in Elder Scrolls Online. I intend to play a support role for my clan, or guild, but I haven't seen evidence that the player can use conjuration spells. By Nick Rosas. Really?
I
Okay.
was sure that you were going to say, will there be dragons, when you started that, and I was really excited.
The night's still young. Players will be able to summon weapons, armors, and Atronox. However, you'll notice that compared to previous Elder Scrolls games, the schools of magic are a little different in ESO. Okay. On a side note,
different. No
I'm pretty
potatoes
sure I've
at
seen
all.
like summons and stuff like that, so I'm just gonna go on a limb here and say that I think there's gonna be conjuration in a manner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although
they
I did
have
find
said
it
in
interesting
past-
summon armor.
They have said in past interviews that the magic schools are kind of distributed across
Right.
the classes. So you're going to see like conjuration stuff as a Dragon Knight, and you're going to see obviously you're probably going to have more summoning spells and so forth as a sorcerer. But they said that they are distributing the various magic schools across all classes' abilities, regardless of if they're a caster or not. And just putting stuff that makes sense with the right class and so forth. So that's an interesting approach, to add some variety to the game without limiting all the classes to like for example, if only the sorcerer had access to the magic schools, it would be kind of boring, right? I mean, it would be kind of lame in my opinion, since everybody has magic in the end. So we'll see.
I'm curious about scaling of summoned weapons and armor as well, and how they're planning to make that work.
Well, the weapons, I mean, that's kind of a staple of conjuration in previous games. It's just the armor part that kind of took me off guard. But we'll have to see how it
sure,
works.
but even weapon scaling, will it scale? Will it scale with your just current weapon? Will it-
That's true. Or maybe it
scale to
scales with
something
your
else?
skill in actual conjuration or whatever
Well, that's the thing.
that
like, because
applies to.
if you use the ability to conjure the weapon, and you could do it when it levels up, you can morph it. So when you morph it, you get that
Ah.
added bonus.
So, I gotta say, since we're on this subject anyway, I gotta ask, would it be cheating if as the Naked Nord I summoned armor? Is that cheating?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Okay.
You're no
Anyway.
longer naked, therefore you're not
That's
naked. No.
playing the game as it should be, not naked and with armor.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you're supposed to wear armor? No, you're not.
Well,
Armor's overrated. I will not be satisfied this game until I find out there is an unarmored skill tree. Alright?
Will summoned armor even replace your equipped armor, or will it just be a buff?
Probably
I'm
just a
inclined
buff.
to say buff.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking too. Alright, moving
Well,
on.
actually,
Who's up?
With what Brian said about summoning weapons, basically skilling up as you leveled the skill and morphed it, I think that would be a horrible implementation. You'd end up with it, with low patch numbers where the gear progression is further behind. It would be really OP, and then as it didn't scale as you got better gear, it would get way underpowered as the gear surpassed it. Or it would just be underpowered the whole time like it was in the single-player test games.
So then it's exactly like Elder Scrolls. That's what they're going for.
Yes, Elder Scrollsy.
Okay,
Yeah, maybe
next
that's
up.
the plan.
Next question. After I saw all the footage, I wanted to ask if there is a way to play completely without magic, like weapons only, because every character I saw used spells of some sort. By Nicholas Bosk. Answer is, you can play without magic use at all. Simply place your skill points in weapon and armor skill lines. Fighter's guild abilities also are an option if you prefer to avoid spells and magic altogether. As a min-maxer myself, I read this question and I think, why would you do that? But
You're an
some
idiot.
people are just,
Yeah.
Just an idiot.
No,
But-
that's
one thing to take away
there's
from here. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I was just gonna say there's a lot of your, it's not attribute itemization. It's not necessarily from items, but just from your base attributes. It's gonna be going into magicka, and if you put all physical abilities on your bar, that's just gonna be sitting there wasted. Whereas somebody that's using a mix is gonna have 100% of their resources available to actually use. And they're using
I
their
disagree
class
with that.
abilities on top of that.
I disagree with that. In order to effectively use skills like that, you would have to distribute your skills between health, magicka, and stamina. But if they put more points toward health and stamina, they'd have a higher rate of survival because they'd have the increased hit points. And they'd have more stamina, so they'd have that additional stamina to sprint, do heavy attacks, or use physical-based skills that drain from your stamina list. Thereby not having to use the magicka, they wouldn't have to waste the points putting into magicka to increase it.
But the magicka is still there because there is a standard amount of magicka that exists regardless of whether or not you put any points into it, and that may or may not end up scaling with you as you level. And if it does, you're going to be getting screwed even more.
Maybe.
If you start off with 200 mana, you're always going to have, for example, that 200 mana. When you hit level 50, you're sitting there with 200 mana that you could potentially use as an ability. Sure, you can put all your points into stamina or strength, and then you only utilize those. But if you're going up against somebody else who did the exact same thing, your arsenal is not going to be up. You're not going to be able to compete with him. He has one added ability that could be just detrimental to your rotation.
The thing is, no matter how much stamina you put into the stamina thingy, how much points you put on the stamina and health, eventually you're gonna run out. If you're in a long fight, if you're in a long encounter where you're just, it's like several people in PvP or so forth, your resource is gonna run out, and so you run out of stamina, and you have there a full magicka bar unused, and then you just don't put any skill on the bar that uses magicka, so you're just sitting there waiting for the stamina to regen, while you could, during that downtime of your main abilities, you could have one or two magicka skills in your bar that you use while you wait for your stamina to regen. So similar to, it's not a rotation, but similar to a rotation where you use some of the stamina and then you use some of the magicka. So
even if you just have one ability on your bar, one class ability, like a self buff, just make sure you're using magicka just to keep it up. That would be so much better. But I mean, if you're in first-person view and naked, it probably won't make a difference anyway.
Well, one of the things I can look at here and just kind of, I don't know if it's taken out of context or whatever, but they specifically say you can place your points in weapons and armor skill lines.
Mm-hmm.
What about class skill lines? They don't talk about class skill lines.
Yeah, that's food for thought. But, anyway, that's all speculation, so let's go ahead and move on to the next question. That'd be you. Ryan.
There are three people here, so who's you? Oh, Ryan, okay.
Yeah. We're going in order here. I actually remember the order for a change.
I'm trying to figure out where we are. When you go to fight a monster, how do you know if it's a high level? Will there be level will the level be displayed on top, or does each level have a set of monsters? I need to know because I don't want to fight a monster and die. Felipe.
Valdez.
Don't worry. Any monster's level will be displayed alongside its name.
That's so awesome. Next question.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, the easy answer is, if it's too high a level and you fight it, you're dead. So that now you know.
Well, at least... Well,
go fight something else.
In a sense, it's kind of an obvious question, but not so obvious because I heard and I saw on videos that the UI in this game is pretty limited. It doesn't show many numbers and everything, so I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't show the level, But I'm glad to understand that now.
I mean, there's a lot of different things they could do rather than just level. I mean, you could see colors and names. That's a classic MMO trope that they could toss in there. I'm sure there's other systems they could put in there. Maybe if you come close, like spider sense radar thing goes off and your screen starts blinking red, telling you to get the hell out of Dodge. There's other things they could do. Anyway, Ethan, you're up. Did we lose Ethan? Is Ethan dead?
Fell asleep.
I have to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing here.
He's supposed to be reading.
There it is. Will it be possible to customize and shift the UI around a bit? And can I have more than one chat window for the PC version of the game? Our
Yeah.
UI layout is built with mostly static windows as far as the default configuration goes, but we are offering add-on support for UI mods for PC and Mac, so we expect our community will enable all the thousands of different variations you might want. And they also, in Garbrak's interview, said that they were working on finding a way to offer add-on support for consoles. Which is
I'm glad you
interesting.
brought that up. I was actually going to do that, but yeah, awesome. Honestly, from my point of view, I'm kind of a minimalist, I guess is the term. So having multiple chat windows, I think that's just taking up way too much of my screen real estate. I mean, I can think of more important things to have there. You know, maybe have heal bars in the event I actually decide to do some kind of healing, or you know, guarding or something like that. I want to be able to see on the fly what the health bars of my people are in my party. So, I mean, I think that's more important than having multiple chat windows.
I've used combat log in a separate chat window before,
Okay.
but I was running a PvP game on my server at the time when you were competing to get the killing blow on various targets first and needed a combat log, so you were
Nice.
hitting it really fast and then running to post it on the forums. So maybe that was a
I want to spin off
special
that.
situation.
I want to spin off that. In another game that I used to play once upon a time, there was what was called MVP status. The boss monsters in the game, whoever got the killing blow on the monster is who got the reward for killing the monster. So everyone and their mother could come in there and fight the monster, you know, this epic boss style thing. But the only person that got credited for it was the person who did the final blow. Would that be interesting in a game nowadays, or am I just thinking of tropes that are long
terrible.
past?
That would be interesting, all right.
The damage
It would be
rates, man.
interesting. It would cause a lot of griefing, though.
And then it's like,
And
the
it did.
single
It
worst
really
idea.
did. Like, there was one class who had an ability that just, you know, it was like a one-shot ability. Once they used it, they were completely out of their mana resources and couldn't do it again. What you'd end up seeing is near the end of the battle, you'd have like a couple of those classes standing on the sidelines, and they just run in, use their superpower attack, and all of them would try to get the final blow.
Yeah,
was-
if any class had an execute, that would be it.
Yep.
Yeah, like living in Brazil with 300 latency all the time, that would be awesome for me. I mean, I would be there, and I'm like, oh, the mob's dying, I'm gonna hit. Oh, shit, it's dead.
To be fair, I did play with a lot of Brazilians in that game, so... In fact, they made up, I think, about half the server.
Don't confuse.
I'm sorry.
Brazilian
I'm sorry, Carlos.
BRs.
I play with BRs. My bad.
BRs. Like,
My bad.
Normally BRs have BR on their name.
And
It's
they
like,
did.
You know, Alistair BR or something, and then those guys, you can trust them very much.
No, I
Okay.
just remembered, actually, one of our Tamriel Foundry members, Zoro Arc 173, did a thread with his kind of post-PAX Prime reactions, and one of the things he mentioned was that the Nightblade has a skill called Assassin's Blade that does a bit of damage and then a huge amount of damage when the target is at low health. So I think that's a great system for giving the Nightblades all the loot.
It's got a loot system. Your idea doesn't work.
Fair enough. Oh.
Okay,
And now I'm the
So,
next one who lost their place. I think this is the one. We'll
that's me, right?
No, it's
Okay.
me. I'm up. I
Oh.
mean, if you want it, you can take it.
No.
Okay. I hope this is the right one, because I lost my place now, too. Thanks, everyone. Will spells only be tied to stabs and classes, or will we see fireballs, ebony flesh, illusions, and other spells given to us through the Mages Guild or other skill lines by Taylor Montgomery? You will definitely get spells from places other than just the class skill points. Really? I would hope so.
This one is, I mean, this Askazan's thing is like
That
50% of it is useless at least.
That was a horrible answer. I mean, he
Spells
he
will come
knew
from
that.
places.
In his question, he knew that. He specifically mentioned staves, classes, and then asked, I guess, about the Mages Guild. I thought he was mentioning them in addition, and then asking if there were other places, and they were like, "Yeah, it'll come from other places than classes." It's like he knew that.
Stuff will come from places, and sometimes even
Stuff
things.
will come from places, and you know sometimes shit happens, and that's that's the way of the beast. Anyway, next, you said that we will be able to unlock almost all skills, talents. There will be enough shards. Will shards be harder and harder to get? Example, behind hard dungeon bosses or high ground behind bosses or high ground where we need to solve puzzle jumping, or it would be mostly the same difficulty and just time consuming by Marius Maximiatana. I don't know how to say that.
Close
Anyway.
enough. Let's go with Max.
Yeah, Max. Sky shards are meant to reward exploration rather than killing bosses or completing jumping puzzles. Some are well hidden in devious places, but you'll be able to find them through exploration.
I like that answer.
All right.
Exploration. That is probably one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to personally in this game. Is just, to go around and find stupid stuff. I mean, that's what I loved in Skyrim, and I loved in Oblivion, is just finding, the most minute or even the most awesome things in just the most remote, stupid place that you wouldn't have even thought to go to otherwise. Just stumbling on stuff. So, yeah. Ryan! You're up!
Yay!
Shortest question ever.
I get the wait. What? Oh yeah, I get the best question ever. Where's my beta key? The internet. I love that.
It's almost like they have a sense of humor over there or something.
Just a little bit. And then
Yeah.
There was the quick you wanted and stuff. Okay. I was going to deliver it to you in person, but I ran out of magicka. My mount went lame. I didn't have enough gold for the way shrine. My robes didn't come back from the alchemist. An old friend stopped by from. I don't know.
Akavir.
Thank you. Stupid names. Someone stole my horse. There was an earthquake, a terrible flood, flesh flies. It wasn't my fault, I swear through the divines. Excuses aside, we sent out tens of thousands, that's a lot,
That is a
of
lot.
beta keys already. Keep in mind, though, that 3 million fans have signed up so far. The beta is growing fast, and we're going to keep sending invites, so don't lose hope. Anytime we send new invites, you'll see a post here
Yeah.
and on social media.
And on that note, we had a new wave of invites today.
Yay!
Were there? Oh.
So,
Yep.
yeah, check your emails, folks. If you're watching this live, obviously today is the 4th of September. What is the name on Skyrim month again? Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, if there was a wave today, so check your emails. Obviously, I don't get those because I live in Brazil, and I don't think they're sending invites to Brazilian yet if they don't even
Nope.
have Europeans testing the thing. So I'll have to wait a little bit. Sad face, but it's the way of life.
But at least you
but,
don't complain about it on every social media post they make, so there's that.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's pointless. I mean,
I don't even look at... Yeah, it's horrible.
My philosophy is when it turns up in my email box that I have gotten an invite, then no one in the world will know because that's NDA breaking. But when it turns up, I will probably dance for at least 5 minutes because then I'll be exhausted.
No, it's not. You can say you're in beta.
And you just can't say anything about the beta.
record
off
your
topic.
dance and send it to me. I'll put it on YouTube.
You'll submit it as the emote. Do the road happy dance.
Yeah, it's gonna
No
be
one
like,
wants to see that.
please,
No one
I
wants to
want
see
this
that.
mode to be in the game. Like,
I would have to learn how to do the hammer dance.
I want / carton dance. That's all.
Anyway. Well,
It says that because Fresh Prince of Bel-Air just started season 3 where he lives.
that'd be amazing. It'd be really boring in that season, but it'd be amazing. Anyway. So,
Hi, do you remember what happened in season 3?
no.
Oh, that's the season where Carlton was addicted to coke.
What? I must have blotted that from my memory. I'm going to pretend you didn't say that.
It wasn't
I
coke.
have no
it was
idea what we're talking about.
Yep. The introduction of Will Smith's career. Yeah, that. Anyway. Bethesda seeking exemption from online multiplayer charges. So, what came out in this news, I believe it was with an interview with the official Xbox magazine, if I'm not mistaken, with Pete Hines. So anyway, they're trying to work away with Microsoft and Sony to make it so that The Elder Scrolls Online is exempt from charges on Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus. As it stands right now for both consoles, so
Both money
PC
growers.
Master Race right there, as it stands for the consoles, you will have to pay for your yearly subscription to the console's online service as well as the actual game's monthly subscription to play the game. Now,
which is a little silly because
it
you
is.
wouldn't actually be playing on the console
servers. Yeah, right.
You're playing on ZeniMax servers, yeah.
Yeah, you're not using anything provided by Microsoft or Sony other than the fact that
The console itself that you've already paid for.
which you've already owned.
Yes.
I think Sony should get the drop on Microsoft and just say, okay, we won't, and they've already hinted that they're not gonna charge
from what
for a
I've
lot of
read
demos.
already.
And it would be really funny just to make Microsoft look bad again.
Well, and this is not coming
If
from.
they know they won't do it, will be Sony. Sony will be the first one to do it.
This is not coming from me being the Sony fanboy.
Done it.
Yeah, that's what I've already read so far. Is that it sounds like they're already about ready to announce that.
About it, they're saying things like, we're working closely with Microsoft to get the Xbox Live fees removed.
There's been very little
If anybody
chatter
says
about
no,
Sony.
it's Microsoft. And the reason they'll say no is because they know the game will quote unquote fail if the customer has to pay 2 fees. No Xbox person is going to do that. It just seems silly. But in terms of like Netflix, because some people are going to go, well, you pay 2 fees for Netflix. Netflix offers you a broad spectrum of entertainment. You can pretty much watch any show you want. Unlike Elder Scrolls Online, where all you get is a game. You log in, you're doing a game. That's it. It's very linear.
Well, one argument that I've heard a few people make so far is that if you get an Xbox or a Xbox One or a PlayStation 4, you're not just going to get the console to play Elder Scrolls Online. If you were just getting a system to only play Elder Scrolls Online, odds are you'd probably already be a PC player. So
because it's better anyway.
It is, and I'm not going to argue that at all. But if you're going to get one of the consoles, you'll end up paying for that subscription anyway to play other games. So to them, it's a moot point. But I'm almost positive that this argument has come from the pre-existing console owners that are already used to paying these subscriptions. So I don't find their argument valid. I see the logic in it, but I don't agree with it. So, moving on.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a separate service, like we've been saying. It's just a lot of console users are going to be paying for it anyway. Is probably the only reason Microsoft would want to keep that on there. Honestly, if you have an Xbox, you probably have Xbox Live, with the exception of me because I never play mine. But I mean, we've got one of our console people, Switchblade, resident console expert in the chat. I know that because he's running a PS4 guild that I would plug if it was bumped higher up here. I think it's Knights of Stendar, maybe. Anyway, he was saying that he's been having PSN Plus for years now, which is exactly what I would expect most people that play on a console to do. Because you just, especially with the PS4, I mean, you get so much other stuff. If you buy the console, Lowly Knights of Stendar, he just told me on the PS4.
I like that, actually. I think that's a pretty cool name.
But yeah, most people who are going to, be playing on the console are already paying for it anyway. So I really doubt it's that big of a deal, and I think it's just people that are disgruntled about the subscription in the first place that are trying to make it into one.
I can see that. All right, if anyone else has nothing to say, I'm going to move on to the dev question of the week. No one?
Yay.
Don't
Is
sound
it
so
about ins?
No.
Oh, I want to name my in.
No.
I have the perfect name.
No.
You want to hear it?
I don't, actually, as a matter of fact. See, as it stands right now, I already have enough stuff to edit out. I would really hate to have to edit that out, too.
Not for me. I've been a good boy.
I actually... Nope, I have one edit from you already. So, we're going to move on.
Ah, shit.
I hate you so much.
I know you have at least 2 edits from me
3.
already. So.
Dev question of the week, number 36.
I'm just glad it's not me for once.
You have edits too.
Oh, no. Hey, your boss wants to hear it.
You can send it to him over Skype. I don't care. QA tester of the dungeon team, which just shows that they do actually have teams of QA testers. Kudos, Lindsay Beaver. In Tamriel, a well-crafted weapon, strong enchantments can give, and strong enchantments, there we go, I can read, you a competitive edge, or competitive advantage in combat. I'm screwing up already. In the Elder Scrolls Online, crafters can choose from armor smithing, enchanting, alchemy, weaponsmithing, and provisioning. So, what expertly crafted item is your character going to be known for creating? So, we know that it has since been said that instead of having 2 different paths in crafting you can master, it has been reduced to 1, which I'm perfectly fine with. So, starting from there, Ryan, get it out of the way. What are you going to be an expert crafter at? And no, you can't name your inn.
I'm gonna be a provisioner. I'm gonna master my.
Are you really?
Master in the. Yeah, I'm gonna master in fluids.
I hate you.
And my main fluid I'm gonna sell is sloppy seconds.
Go back to a previous episode when that's explained. No, it's not what you think. Unless, of course, it is in fact what you think, in which case you probably listened to the previous episodes. Congratulations, and thank you for listening. Carlos.
Totally. I'm gonna be an enchanter, and I'm gonna enchant your sword with, and it's going to become the Sword of Phallus Enhancement.
Oh my god.
I actually had to think of a word that wouldn't be bleeped, but
You succeeded.
There it is. Yeah. No, just kidding. I don't know. I am seriously thinking of being an enchanter.
Really?
So I don't
Cool.
know what kind of enchants there will be in the game.
Well, according
so
to everything we've heard, enchanting is going to be incredibly important in endgames, so that's probably a wise decision.
And we also had a recent poll on Vakundine forums where everybody's like, "Hey, what crafting profession you're going to take?" And everybody was answering the poll, and after like 30 people had answered, I checked the results, and there was no enchanter, and I was like, wow,
Really?
Okay, then I'll be an
We
enchanter.
suck.
Wow.
And probably more people are still going to join, and people may change their minds. But I was thinking of being blacksmithing of some sort, weaponsmithing or armorsmithing and so forth, and being like kind of tanky. Being an armorsmith would make total sense. But I remembered, dude, I can barely dedicate time to crafting anyway. I'm not a crafter, so I might just go enchant and see what it is about, and if I don't like it, if I can drop it at some point, I will, and then get whatever other profession. I don't know if they're going to allow you to drop your profession, so we'll have to see.
Well, if you do go armor crafting, Road's gonna hit you up because he's gonna need a butt flap.
No,
Yeah.
I won't.
I'm going to make
I won't
the
need that. I'll
naked
need boots,
noise
though.
song. The boots, yeah, the boots.
Yes, the boots.
Okay.
All right. Ethan, what about you?
I'm gonna craft Garbrat corpses.
I approve. It's not actually a profession, but you know what? Go for
It
it.
will be a
make it.
profession. He will do it enough to make it a profession.
Yeah, I will make it a profession. No, I usually don't pay any attention to crafting unless they force me to, like WoW did, where they were like, "You'll get 2% crit from leveling skinning," or whatever it was I leveled. It wasn't that.
Wait, you actually got
I
a stat bonus for crafting?
Yeah, because
That's
otherwise
broken.
people like me would never do it.
I really hope crafting is as important in ESO as it was in Daok. I really hope it is. I mean, Daok, and it was interesting in Daok as well, because the person who made your gear, you always remembered that person. That person was known throughout your server, saying, "Hey, I need this gear. Where can I go? Oh, this guy can make it." I mean, you became known for making it. Now, with that being said, certain people sat at the frickin' armor tables hitting the same button for hours and hours and hours and hours just to get that one little frickin' point.
Well,
I think you mean people bought it at the armor
yeah,
table.
exactly. And I hope that you're right on that crafting is that important. Because from what we've seen from, again, going on that crutch that I have as my only real MMO, the Old Republic, it was touted as, crafting at least was
It's
touted.
not a real MMO.
Anyway, we're not going to go onto that train. But it was touted pre-launch that crafting was going to be incredibly important, not only to the economy, but to the endgame, to every aspect of the game. It was going to be important. And as we have come to find out, not even because of the switch to free-to-play, but just because of the game as a whole, crafting was not at any point in the game important. And I'm saying that as someone who
always
maxed
happens. And-
every crafting skill in the game. As someone who went straight into the crafting of that game, it was never important. So I hope ESO does not make that mistake.
I don't expect it. That's just part of being a theme park MMO. It's all based around making players do content, and when you look at the things that the developers have been... Well, if you let players just craft the best gear, then that makes all the content irrelevant. and if you
In
require
progression
them,
terms, right?
and sometimes they do cheesy and progression. Yeah, it ruins progression. And if you do something cheesy like we'll just have the good match drop off the raid boss. That's kind of ruining it. But
I don't like that idea.
That's kind of pointless.
Yeah, yeah.
I could see that as
happens
being an
too.
outlet for great crafting materials. I could understand that, but if that's the only way you can do it, which another game that we've already mentioned did it that way, then I'm gonna hate it with a passion.
Yeah, I mean, if you want good crafting, you should go play a sandbox. And I'm weird because I'm all like sandboxes. Yes, I love sandboxes, but I don't give a crap about crafting. So I don't know, maybe I'm the weird one.
Yeah, I mean,
You are
I
weird.
like crafting, but I normally don't focus too much on it. I mean, it's
I
yeah,
spend a lot of time crafting. That's one of my areas of funness.
I can tell myself that I will do it all I want, but then when the truth is, I get home from work, I have like 5 hours, of gameplay ahead of me, and I'll PvP for 5 hours. It's just, I can tell myself that I won't, but that's just what's gonna happen, so.
Well, on the bright side, you'll
yeah.
be able to actually contribute to the crafting teams in the game, because from what they've said, a lot of the great crafting materials will be found in Cyrodiil. So you'll be able to PvP and protect the gathering group of the guild to make sure that that's done.
Yeah.
So
I hope
you're going to
that
get the
it'll
most
be
of both
organized.
worlds. Even though even if you don't do the crafting, you're still going to be contributing to crafting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
we were talking about that in the guild meeting the other night. Actually, I say as if you weren't there. Where we had members that were asking, if we got these Cyrodiil only resources and we hate PvP and we're terrible at it, and it was like, well, a lot of the resources in ESO that there isn't a gathering skill, and you find it in barrels and laying around, just like you find doing the Elder Scrolls games, and we'll be able to have our PvPers put that kind of thing in the guild bank as well as the other guild.
If you don't like PvP but you want to gather in Cyrodiil, I will like PvP for you. No problem. I'll just be there and I'll run around while you gather stuff. I'm fine.
I'll protect you, I swear, with my sword in your chest!
I'm going to protect your corpse. Anyway, so Ryan, in order to make things interesting, we're going to need you to continuously throw yourself at the meat wall that is Carlos. We need to keep him entertained while the rest of us are gathering crafting materials.
I mean, I'll probably be tanky, so even if I can't kill the people trying to come, bother you while you gather, I will take a while to die so you can run. That's fine.
I'm glad that we have someone here that is not part of the Ebonheart pack, just so we can use him as a punching bag. Sorry, Ryan, but that's kind of your role right now.
It's like the opposite of every other ESO podcast.
Eventually, you're just going to accept it and come work with us.
There is no working with Ebonheart. You join Ebonheart to die. That's all you
Official
vote.
podcast of the Nord Horde.
You join Ebonheart pack to create death. You become death, but you do not die.
No. Do you have any idea
There's a
who
difference.
leads the Ebonheart pack? You are not free within that country. Well, faction.
I am become death, the destroyer of Garbrax.
Thank you. I'm so glad you said that. That was great. All right. We're going to go ahead. Oh, wait. No, that's right. It's my turn now, because we've gone completely off base. I never got to me. Provisioning. Because someone needs to supply the guild with booze.
Sloppy seconds?
Booze.
No, real booze.
I'll join you guys if you agree to drink my sloppy seconds.
And because that's easy to
That
do
sounds
indoors,
so wrong.
where your ginger skin is safe.
Oh. I hate you so much. You don't even know. I am not a ginger. Moving on. I have nothing against
Yes, you are.
gingers, but I am not one. Moving on.
Watch the latest episode of ESO All Stars. I know it's like pulling teeth, but watch it anyways.
Oh, come on.
Don't be like that.
Anyway, moving on to our quote-unquote...
No! We have to talk about the chat.
Talk about what?
The chat. Your boss just called you Ginger Harry Potter.
He does that just to irritate me.
It's so true.
It is.
You're making fun of the Irish, and you're making fun of people that wear glasses, alright? That's not right, man.
That's bullying, man. That's,
It is.
It's against the
See,
law.
this just proves, like,
We're only
workplace
making fun of that
inequality right here,
intersection.
alright?
It's a Venn diagram of Irish people that wear sunglasses, and in the middle it says road.
I like how in the chat, "You're a ginger, Harry." Oh man, that's funny. Oculus, you're my hero. Alright, moving on to the discussion of the week, which is brought to us this week by Tamriel Foundry with a PAX Prime interview with Paul Sage. Thank you, Atropos, for making that one. Did I say that name right? I hope I did. If not,
Yes.
Awesome.
Although he also goes by Astropops.
Astropops? Thank you, Astropops, for doing this interview for us. Well, not for us, but we're going to use it.
Yes, Sparhawk, an elf.
They did the interview for me. You guys just got it for bonus.
Oh, is that how it works? Awesome!
Yeah, the world, runs around me normally. That's how it works.
Well, you are closer to the center of the planet, so I will let that go. Moving
Yeah.
on. So, Ethan,
Actually, I don't think that's how that works.
it is.
Yeah,
I just said it is, alright?
well, my center of gravity is a little bit higher.
I mean, technically, it is somewhat oval-shaped near the poles, so I guess he would be closer to the center, maybe.
Don't argue.
Is
No
it
idea what we're
winter
talking
or
I don't need your
summer?
science here, alright? Alright, Ethan, take us into this, because, as I said in the pre-show, I had notes for this, and I closed the window without saving. Because
Has
I'm...
your boss been drinking?
Possibly.
Okay, that explains that then.
No, that's what he'll say sober, so... Anyway. Ethan, take us away.
Yeah. Okay, so Atropos did this interview with Paul Sage, PAX, as we just said in the lead-in.
Uh-huh.
And we did actually get a few interesting bits of information out there. The first of which was that there's going to be a point system called Veteran Points that allows you to advance through challenges in Master Dungeons, which are basically heroics. And I think it was in Master Dungeons only. I'm not sure if that was clear.
The veteran points?
Yes.
Yes. It is only Master Dungeons.
On the bright side, Astropops is in the chat, so if we say something wrong, he can correct us.
Since he's here, can I ask him, was he worried we were going to leave throughout the interview? He kept looking back going, "You guys still there?" Okay, go.
Oh, shut up.
I was just curious. Every time
He
we
was
look back, I'd be like,
engaging
"I'm
the
here."
audience with eye contact instead of looking drunk at 3 a.m.
Hey. Hate you.
All right. So, veteran points.
Yes.
Yes.
Take us away.
That was a new thing from the interview. I like the potential of that, and it kind of shows that they're worrying about endgame, which is great. That's a difference from the Star Wars. Waiting for. I'm comparing to Star Wars, by the way, just because it's my most recent experience of waiting for a game before Elder Scrolls Online. But they never said anything about endgame stuff, and then this is much better already because they have something.
Yeah, that was what I was really happy to hear, was finally some endgame PvE information. And yeah, the specific context of veteran points was kind of to say that yeah, we still have this advancement at endgame. It's something you only start working on at level cap, which is nice.
Did he ever actually comment onto what you actually use them for fully?
No, he didn't. I was sad about it. I wish Atropos had asked, but I don't know if he would answer anyway.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect him to, but I don't know. I actually forwarded that to the think tank I use called My Ass, and I can pull some stuff out of there about what this will be. Yeah, I'm just gonna pull some stuff out of there, and I don't know. It kind of sounds like an alternate advancement system to me, like we've seen in other games.
But
Yeah.
I wonder. This is where I think it's going to intertwine, because obviously there's going to be people that play PvP and people that play PvE. The veteran points, I have a feeling, are going to be comparison to the alliance points for PvP. You're probably going to be able to buy the same abilities.
Well, but they said you get veteran points in PvP as well, so I think it's a completely different thing. He did, yeah. He said, do you like PvP? That's
PvP
fine.
or
We're
in
gonna have
PvP
veteran
zones?
points for that too.
And we don't know that veteran points will have anything to do with abilities either. For all we know,
Yeah.
it could be gear purchases or stat
Titles,
improvements.
cosmetic stuff. Yeah.
Titles
For the
could
cash
be
shop.
in there.
I want a
Yeah.
horse that says veteran on the side.
Yeah,
with
it could
like,
let you buy better
Cinemax
things in the
logo.
cash shop.
Fine, pony.
So we have no idea what it is, but it exists and it excites us.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna have
That's just
veteran
exist.
printed on my helmet.
I'm just going to carve it into your forehead. How about that?
Yeah, it's gonna be like a yellow and green helmet, like Ayrton Senna, and then it's gonna have veteran there. It's gonna be awesome.
All right.
Next question.
Yep. Next point.
Okay, so another thing we got out there was actually a PvE skill line from a guild called the Undaunted. Oh, wait. Sorry. Let's go back to veteran points. They did mention a little bit specifically. I'm working off some bullet points here that aren't specific at all. They did specifically mention that the veteran points were advanced and earned by doing challenges, and that it was a lot gamier than the system I'm about to mention, which is kind of RP. It's a PvE guild that you do things for and then get rewarded with a skill line. But he said that veteran points were kind of a gamey feature. You went in and you did challenges, and that's how you did it. And I don't know if he means like hard modes of fights or if it's tied to achievements.
Well,
But or something like
time,
that.
Like completing a
did.
dungeon in a certain time amount. Like time
Yeah,
trials.
it
Yeah,
sounds kinda
doing
similar
things
to
in a
guild
certain
challenges.
time or a similar way. Yeah, and I think that's really interesting as well. Probably the most interesting part about that. So I'm glad I forgot to say it.
Yeah, if anybody
One,
plays WoW now, it sounds like the guild challenges or the challenge system that they have in World of Warcraft right now.
People play WoW still?
Only 7.7 million. It's not very many.
And declining.
Yeah, but the thing is, I like this time trial because in a sense
Still a
it
better
really shows that it's an end game feature, because in order to defeat a master dungeon with fast, you need gear. I mean, you need to have DPS. You need to kill stuff fast. And that's not only skill based. It is also skill based, obviously, but it's not only. You might be super skilled, but just because you just got to 50, you have no way of beating the dungeon, in 30 minutes, for example. So maybe you have to do some raiding and really get some gear at PvP or at whatever source it is, and then come back to try and do the master dungeons in a certain time amount to get veteran points. So really, if they do this right, the people who will get the veteran points are really the people who are veterans, people who have experienced at least some form of end game to a certain extent, so that they can get the gear, be it PvP, PvE, or even developing their crafting and so forth. So that should be very interesting. It opens up interesting doors for people who like endgame, and let's be honest, endgame is everything. I mean,
Well,
just
to
making
you,
stuff
maybe.
up goes. Wouldn't it be interesting if veteran points turned out to be kind of a special achievement score specifically for PvE dungeons, and at certain tiers of score level, basically you're rewarded with a new ability, and they could just continually add to that as new content is released.
See, that's kind of
even-
what I was taking from that, actually.
Several expansions down the road, it would still be a relevant skill for people to be working on.
What I was thinking is, the farther you progress into the dungeons, the more skills or points toward your PvE specific skill tree, your Undaunted tree or whatever. And in order to make those
No, that's a separate system
okay.
from veteran points.
Right, I know,
Entirely
but
unrelated.
I'm saying, going through the PvE content, you unlock more skills, and that's what helps you get through the later stages. Maybe not to the veterans specifically, because honestly, from that point, I see it as more like a system to get, I don't know, commendations or badges or whatever you want to talk about, so you can purchase new tiers of gear. That's what that kind of sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Just another currency.
Well, let's move on to the Undaunted while we're there. Or I'd like to see it not as a currency, but as a cumulative score, not something that's spent, but you just reach certain levels and then unlock things.
I don't know if I like that idea, because then there's going to be that one Asian kid that just rules the entire game because he doesn't sleep at all ever, and is being paid to sit there and play ESO 24/7 so that he becomes the top player in the world, and there's just no one that can overtake him.
It wouldn't necessarily
Until he
increase
finally
your
goes
power
into a
at all.
gaming-induced coma.
You're still limited to the the four abilities, 5 abilities, whatever it is.
Right.
You're still limited to the set
There would
number.
be a cap.
It wouldn't make you more powerful just from unlocking those as you go. It would just give you more options. And what would be really cool is as they progressively add stuff, if you kind of get flashier abilities, like if you see somebody with the cap, on the veteran points ability. You're like, damn, when he shoots it off, blinded, like a level 5 ability in Final Fantasy 14, where you just can't see shit. There's particle effects everywhere.
Sounds like Guild Wars 2.
Okay.
No, it sounds like Final Fantasy 14. I get nauseous watching that. Which, fortunately, I almost never have to do because nobody can play it.
It's
Yes.
getting better. It's getting better.
Moving on.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, the Undaunted skill line is another similar thing, which is just a normal skill line. It's an
a guild.
NPC guild, similar to the Fighters Guild or the Mages Guild in game, and you progress it by completing dungeons, and not necessarily on master difficulty. It could be done at any level, I believe. And
That was
just like any other skill line, you
remember
get
him.
experience with that skill line, you get new abilities.
I do remember him using the introduction to dungeons sentence on the interview. So like, it's gonna be the guild that will introduce you to dungeons, and that's nice because it's like every time it's like, oh, there's an undaunted NPC, which means there's something dungeon related around.
So
Yeah.
my question on that is, since there are specific ways to, from what I understand anyway, from what I've read, there are specific ways to level up each of the guilds, and according to this, it's by doing the dungeons. And as he said, there are what, 16 dungeons for launch, and then 6 more coming post-launch or something like that. So would it require?
I think 6 of them can be master.
Right,
and
right.
So it's like 10 dungeons that won't be able to be done in master difficulty, and then
So-
you probably have.
My question for this is, would you have to complete all of the dungeons to fully level up this guild, or would you be able to, say, farm a specific one and constantly build up points that way? That's what I want to know. Because if it's something you just farm,
you're done.
yeah, if it's something you just farm, then everyone's going to do the easiest dungeon, even if it doesn't give as many points as, say, a master dungeon does. And I don't like that idea.
Yeah, I would assume as soon as you finish it, and you finish, obviously there's going to be a quest line in it, because they were talking about it in QuakeCon. Once you finish the initial quest line for it, you're done. You can't earn any more experience for it. And then you would, at 50, go into the master version of it. And now, one thing I want to bring up is, in one of the interviews from Gamescom, and nobody has picked this up yet, and I'm very surprised nobody's picked this up.
Here we are!
What?
You said no one's picked it up, but here we are.
Oh, well, I picked it up. I'm just...
Okay, well, that's part of we. But yeah.
In one of the interviews with Matt Fowler at Gamescom, he said something that really intrigued me and made me go, what? Apparently, they have a concept, and again, this is a concept, I'm pretty sure it's not even designed yet, that you can change the difficulty from medium, hard, and crazy hard, is quoting him, of the dungeon. So not only do you have Master Dungeon, but you also have 3 different other types of scaling that you can do.
That's kind of
that
cool.
will probably play into, if it's going to exist, will play into it.
That's interesting. Well,
I hope it's actually called
just
Crazy
something
Hard,
similar.
too. That's just an amazing difficulty name.
I'll get you the link for it, just a sec. So you guys continue to talk.
Okay. Yeah, but the Rhodes concern that people would just do the easiest dungeon to farm reputation with the Undaunted, and
Reputation. That's exactly what I was thinking. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't see that as a problem, because that would be the most efficient way, but normally the most efficient way is when you can do multiple things at the same time. So
like
it would
getting
be
better
smart.
gear.
Exactly. It would be smart to get better gear while you do, the undaunted stuff. So if you're going to a dungeon and then you're not getting, it's the easiest one, so the drop level in there is kind of low because it's one of the first you do. It's like only for recent 50s, or maybe it's a short dungeon, so it has like 1 or 2 bosses only. So if you're doing that, at some point you're just gonna have pretty much everything that dungeon can offer you, and you're going to need to do harder ones to get better gear, and you probably are going to get more reputation with the Undaunted while doing that. So basically, you can farm your gear while you farm reputation, and that's much more efficient than just doing the easiest one. I agree that if you have people who are like raiders or PvPers, for example, myself, I'll go into the game, I'll get to level 50, I'll go to Cyrodiil, and I'll live there. I won't do many dungeons except for open dungeons. So, you know, and then if eventually, like, you know, 3-4 months into the game, I'm like, okay, I wanna do PvE. I wanna farm my faction with the with the Undaunted. Then I'll probably already have gear that is much better from, you know, or equivalent to what drops on the dungeons because of my PvP experience. So I can just go in there and then do what you told me, you know, what you said. Farm the easiest one just to get the reputation because I don't care about gear. But when it comes to PvEers, and that's what this content is aimed at least what I think, then, you know, it would be smart to do different dungeons just for the other stuff that you can get on the other dungeons that are not necessarily the reputation. So, you know, I don't see a problem with that, honestly.
Okay.
I linked the video in chat.
I see that.
It
Yeah.
didn't link for some reason, but it's there.
I see it. That's fine. It's a Twitch thing.
Yeah, it's a Twitch thing. Twitch is being silly. I kind of want to discuss what Arsari's talking about in chat. I want to rage on that for a minute.
How about we do
I
that?
want to say he's wrong.
How about
I
we
really
do that
do.
post show? Yeah.
We already did that last week.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And then you yelled at us saying, "What are you guys doing? I'm not recording."
That's
Oh,
true.
did we? Oh, we did do
Yeah.
it after the show, didn't
That's
we?
right. Yeah.
That's
Then he got
hilarious.
angry.
All right. Anyway, so on this subject, is there anything else, Ethan?
Nope.
Those are
I
pretty
mean,
much
I
mine.
have more. No, I have more bullet points. I meant not on the Undaunted.
So
Okay,
so
that's what I was
okay.
asking. Yeah.
Skill line.
Moving on. This wasn't news, but somebody on Reddit thought it was, so some of our viewers probably do think it is.
Ooh, tell me more.
Yeah. So Matt Fire confirmed that there are 16 dungeons at launch, but only 6 of those have heroic modes at launch, which is not surprising.
Which is what I just said. Like,
Yeah,
5
we
minutes
just said
ago.
that.
Okay.
Whatever. I was
That's
talking
hot
in the
news
chat.
right there.
Yeah. Whatever. It's on my bullet
Multitasking.
list.
He can't do it. All right. So
Moving on.
moving on.
I'm just going down a bulleted list, damn it.
It's fine.
So we got one of the more descriptive, this is going to sound stupid, descriptions of Adventure Zones that we've heard so far, which is basically that
Yes.
it sounds to me like they're, fully featured zones.
Yes.
Where all the content is scaled for groups of 4 people, and then we'll have areas that branch off. We don't know if they're instance, non-instance, or both, that have content that is scaled for much larger groups of people. And the number they've been throwing around before is 24-man groups, but we don't know, if that's solid yet.
Yeah.
So there's the raid content. And I guess my thoughts on that is that I would go back to what I was saying during the rabble-rousing that occurred when Matt Fire's no raids comment was taken out of context by IGN, which is...
Something taken out of contest by IGN. Who'd have thunk
I
it?
know. Yeah, amazing. We talked to him at PAX like right after that because it was blowing up all over the internet. And he was like, "Yeah, my actual comment is that we don't have raids at ESO, but we have something very similar that we put our own twist on." And guess which half of that sentence ended up in the article?
Oh, selective quoting.
Raid.
Wow.
What are you talking about, Asari? SOTOR doesn't have raids.
Hey, it has operations, which is
Oh,
totally
yeah.
not raids with another.
Yeah, they said the same thing too. Yeah.
No,
Whatever.
but in
But
Matt's defense
what
on
I
this
was
one,
saying-
it sounds like
Nope.
Shush.
Going for it.
Do it.
What I was saying is that it's we were talking about what it takes to really make the raid environment in a game successful, and one of the big things, and not everybody's going to agree with me on this, is instancing. You have to have some mode of instance content, because if it isn't, you can't compare it, because one group might be downing content with 50 people, one might be doing it with 15.
well, no.
You can't. You
No.
can zerg down content. It's not comparable. It's not easily attributable to a specific raid group, and without that, you can't really have a competitive rating.
Yeah, especially the biggest problem is that
And I'm
whoever
generally
gets there first
anti-instancing.
gets the boss. That's a problem. I mean, it's not the best guild that is going to down things first. It's the guild that gets there first.
And it's not
Yeah.
even content being contested. I don't really have a big problem with that. I think that's an interesting topic on its own. But it's just that you can't compare what you're doing, so it can't be competitive.
Well, what I think Ryan was going to interrupt with, and I think we're on the same vein this one, from what I recall from previous discussion on Adventure Zones, is that Adventure Zones are not just meant for 4-mans. While it was said in this case, it has been previously stated that they are 4-mans that are part of a larger 24-man group. It is a bunch of 4-mans, not just one 4-man.
Okay, so what he said in this case, I'll say it again, is that a lot of the content strewn about is for 4-man groups, and then it branches off into essentially what we're assuming are 24-man group areas,
right,
which may be fully fleshed raids on their own, or it may be just boss encounters. And I think the idea is actually, normally I'm anti-instancing for this reason, and I think this could be a good workaround. I think the idea is to get 4-man groups roaming around that will then group up and say, let's go do this boss. And as long as the boss encounter is, instanced, that's fine. It'll be just like anything else, only it will have more of a social aspect to trash. And who cares about trash?
Well,
it sounds like a big improvement to me.
What if Adventure Zones are the PvE equivalent of Cyrodiil? And why I say that is in Cyrodiil, you're going to have your campaigns. So, not everyone in the world is going to be part of the exact same campaign. So what you're going to have is you're going to have multiple groups of 4 that accumulate to make a single 24-man group that will be sectioned off from the next 24-man group, which will be sectioned off from the next 24-man group. And it is the 24-man teams, while they're different teams of 4, it is that 24-man group's final objective to take on whatever the big bad boss is of that zone.
See, from everything I've read and understand is they have 2 concepts. They have the concept of Adventure Zones, which, in all hindsight of everything, it is basically or in Guild Wars 2, except for requiring a minimum of 4 people. But there's also going to be instance 24-man dungeons within the Adventure Zone. From everything I've read and understood and from the interviews.
Yes, that's basically what I'm saying too.
Now, the Adventure Zones start out being 4-man. As you progress further, there's going to be sections of it that's going to be open world bosses, 24-man raids. For people that are in there going, hey, I'm going to kill this little 4-man group stuff, and then be like, hey, you know what? This guy just spawned. Again, similar to what Ore is, where everything is time-based. You have a boss that spawns every 15, 20 hours after it died, or whatever. And then within the Adventure Zone, you have instance 24-man content. Which I think is the perfect way to do it. You utilize a public area for people that are currently doing 4-mans, and I mean, obviously there's going to be more than one 4-man in the game, hopefully. Then they'll team up and go do a 24-man raid in the open area. And then
basically, the way,
hey, you know what? Let's take this raid inside.
The way I would say it is that you in this game you have public dungeons, which a lot of the content they've said can be done by 1 or 2 people, and then with bosses in there, which take a full group to take down. Yeah. And those aren't instanced, but it doesn't matter because it's just a dungeon. And I think they're just trying to apply that same concept to Adventure Zones, and because of that, I don't think they'll be limiting it to 24 people in the zone. I think that would just make it a raid.
I think Adventure Zones would be unlimited.
Reasonably limited, like every other zone.
Yeah.
And I just hope they're planning to instance the bosses or have traditional raids on the side.
Yeah. On the topic of public dungeons, I just want to put this on the table again. I am going to be royally upset if there is not a Darkness Falls version in this game.
They as you know, they've said that they want one. It probably won't be in at launch. As
long as they want one and they talk about it, I'm going to be happy. But if I go in,
okay,
they're like, no.
Before we continue anywhere with that, for people like me, yes, for people like me who have no idea what you're talking about, explain Darkness Falls.
Okay, Darkness Falls is probably one of the best public dungeons I've ever experienced in all of my MMO career. And I say career because I've spent so much time on it. But the way it worked is what?
Nothing. I just called you a bum.
Oh, all right. So the way it worked is it works best with a tri-faction system, obviously like Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay.
But only one faction has access to it at any given time. In order to gain access to it, you have to take or own a dominant portion of the RVR, or the PvP area. So what we used to do is we would let the other team take it, let them have it for 20, 40 minutes or whatever. We go out, take our keeps back, and then we would zerg in, rush to the other side of this public dungeon. So, like I said, it's public. The only way to access it is from your faction. So each faction would have their own entrance. And as you enter your side, it's all beginning level mobs. So I think it started around level 20 in this game. Once you start working down, it gets harder and harder and harder. And by the time you get to the middle, it becomes a raid area where there's actually raid bosses and content for a large group to do.
Oh, that's cool.
But it breaks off into like a crossroads.
Right.
So you can go down towards the raid or break off into one of the other two sides. And you can work your way up to the beginning area and to their entrance, where 9 times out of 10 there is lobies just killing stuff to level up, and you just run through and just smuck them. It's awesome. So awesome. Or if you have a Infiltrator, Nightblade, Shadowblade kind of thing,
Right.
you would just log your character off there when they own it. You wait about 45 minutes after the large group goes through and the lobies are just there killing. You just log in and just start killing them. Oh, it's so much fun. I love Darkness Falls. It's the best.
It does sound like fun.
Like it incorporated PvE and PvP. It was a perfect meld of both.
And with ESO, you wouldn't even need to have low-level areas at all because everybody would be scaled up to level 50.
That's true.
Yep.
I don't want that though.
Well, that's just the way it is.
Well,
so.
Yeah.
that's how it is.
Yeah,
so.
you're gonna have to deal.
Your opinion does not matter.
You can wish all you want. Wish in one hand. We'll stop that quote right there. So, on this subject, Ethan, anything more to discuss from the interview?
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay,
Continue.
So, on Tamriel Foundry, Atropos has a weekly feature he does where we do just a screenshot dissection. We find a pretty screen cap and then talk about it a bit. And it's kind of interesting. And last week's was a picture of Cold Harbor where when we were looking at it, we kind of noticed that it was the first scene of Cold Harbor we've ever seen where it looked like an open world zone as opposed to like a tiny dungeon. You know, normally you see people in chains getting drugged through corridors, that type of thing. So he asked Paul Sage about that, and it was confirmed that there is a lot of kind of larger Cold Harbor content that will have some sort of exploration element to it.
I would hope so.
Didn't he say it was basically a rough idea of a standard zone size?
A standard zone size, yeah. But from what he said, it seems to me that it's going to be the pieces of Cold Harbor are going to be kind of weaved in the game from time to time. You know, it's not like you're going to go into Cold Harbor and finish the zone. You know, it's likely going to be like, you know, you're in a certain area or doing a certain quest or whatever it is, and then you kind of get into Cold Harbor and you have some stuff to do there, and you get out, and then you know, in a few levels you do it again and so forth, and then in the end, if you add up all the Cold Harbor exploration, then you will you know, have an entire zone. That's the idea that I took from it. But
Agreed, yeah.
It would also be cool if Cold Harbor was the adventure zone.
Unlikely.
Unlikely.
I could see it being an adventure zone, but I wouldn't want it to be the adventure zone. That would suggest there is a singular, and I want more than one.
Well, right now there is the adventure zone. That's
There
how they're
needs to be
referring to it
Well,
in interviews
that's
as well.
Right
That's
now,
fine.
there's one.
yeah.
They can expand. There's still at least 6 months to go.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I mean, but if the adventure
During
zone
which
is
time
that
they
big,
might finish the current one.
if the
Yeah.
adventure zone is as big as they say it is, plus Cyrodiil content, plus the faction areas content,
Plus master dungeons, plus.
master dungeons. There's a lot of stuff. I think one adventure zone is enough for a launch. Then obviously they can add more.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll have to
And Cyrodiil alone is just enormous.
exactly.
They said
Yeah,
it was
and it has a bunch
10
of public
kilometers by 10 kilometers, whereas, you know, Skyrim was 7 by 7. And it's not 10
Yeah.
square kilometers because it's not shaped like a square, but,
right.
I mean, that's just huge.
10
It is.
Skyrims in and of itself, and that's just a part
Why-
of the game. 10 Skyrims,
Why-
you know. Whatever.
No, that's not how math
and
works.
Skyrim.
Skyrim was 7 kilometers by 7
Oh,
kilometers.
it must. Oh, okay, yeah. It must have bleeped because I didn't hear that. I didn't hear the 7 in there.
When you ask Road how far something is on a map, he goes, "Oh, it's about an inch and a half."
It's over there. Go that way. Anyway,
Totally.
How long will it take us
I
to
mean,
get to Las
that's
Vegas?
cool about Cyrodiil
As long
because,
as
you
our
know,
experiences-
it's probably going to be completely possible for a fight to be happening somewhere, but then you're too far away to just go there, you know? So,
Yeah, it
I mean,
won't be
unless
like
you- yeah,
Guild Wars'
unless you won't,
crap system where it was so small it was just inevitable that it's nothing but Zergs running around in a circle.
yeah, and I mean, unless your faction owns keeps close, then you can kind of teleport to them. But if the keep is not getting attacked itself, if the fight's just nearby, right? Or you can teleport to a closer keep. But if you don't own too many keeps, then you're gonna have to start slow. You're gonna have to, you know, go to the keeps that you do own and then start taking stuff around that keep because, you know,
Or
you
if-
can't afford to fight too far. You know, it's not gonna like you own everything to the east. You know, like 3 keeps to the east, and then you just decide, oh, let's take the keep that is on the extreme west just to surprise them. It's probably not gonna work just because you can't reinforce that quick enough, and it's gonna take a while to get there. So
Yeah.
it's gonna that adds some realism to the strategy, you know, that goes into Cyrodiil, like the progressive strategy over the days of, you know, let's first take this area and then move on and so forth. So secure this and then take that, and that's awesome. I can't wait to, you know, to see all the details about that.
And just to clarify what you were already saying there, it's you can teleport to keeps if you own a line of keeps, basically. And if you just run across and take one, you can't teleport to it just because you own it.
Yeah, you don't own the other keeps in the middle.
You have to
so you
own,
can't,
a supply line of keeps is how they've been saying it.
Exactly. And that's awesome too, because you can just, you know, oh, they own these 4 keeps. Let's get the one in the middle and break their line, and then we get the ones that, you know, that stay isolated from their teleport line, and then, you know, so it's gonna probably be an element to consider on when developing strategies and so forth. So it's gonna be awesome. I'll stop talking about it because I can go the entire night.
coming to you in a podcast very soon,
That's what she said.
Carlos's single man podcast.
Ah.
Monologue.
Carlos Danger goes all night.
Carlos After Dark. All right,
am I the only
so-
one who got the Carlos Danger joke.
I tried to ignore it. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
can't keep my politics out.
Ethan, what else we got?
Yes. That's it. I
What?
think. That's all the new stuff. We can shut up now.
Are you sure?
Well, I heard there's a new inn opening up in
Oh no, we're not going there.
You heard that too, right? Did you?
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember it right now.
I'm not gonna let this happen.
The name I heard about. Should I say it?
No. So, do we have anything pertinent to the conversation left over whatsoever?
The name of the inn. That's pretty important.
No, it's not.
Okay, how many people in chat want to know the name of the inn?
None of them. At all.
Apparently none of them.
Exactly. See? There you go. Alright, so if we don't have anything else, we're going to move on to the closing of our show. Okay, we don't have anything else, so we're going to move on to the closing of our show.
Wow, everybody wants the inn named in chat now.
They can get it in the post show. We'll handle it there. I hate you
I do have a
guys.
question for the post show.
You do, I know. Okay. So, from there, we are now moving into the end of our show. So, if you would like to get a hold of us in any way, shape, or form, you can do so by going to twoncamera.com, twitter.com/TESOCast, twitter.com/twoncamera, facebook.com. I hate you so much.
I was told to do it. Your boss told me to do it.
I don't care!
looks like you're fired. That's what it says.
You guys are all going to hell. I'm sorry, you're all going to
Told
Cold
me do
Harbor.
it.
Anyway, you can go to youtube.com/twoncamera, ENT, to check out any of our videos. This might end up there. I don't know how to do it, so you can listen to us there or get the recorded copy. I'm like completely thrown off now. I don't even know where I'm at. If I missed any of the contact information, rewind to the beginning of the episode. You can get it there. Rate, hate, and subscribe on iTunes. As always, if you'd like to help us out in any way, shape, or form, you can go to twoncamera.com/audible to get your free 30-day trial with your free audiobook. Yes, there are audiobooks that you can get for free. Yes, there are Elder Scrolls novels.
Elder Scrolls book?
I already got it there. Oh, I beat you to it. What now? There are 2 of them.
Does first-person view suck?
No, it doesn't. It's amazing. I've seen it. In videos.
I can't read.
It's great.
I need an audiobook.
How will you get the audiobook if you can't read? You'll have to get someone to do it for you. I'm sure Ryan can help you out on that one. He's found audiobooks there.
What happened to this ending?
I hate you
Your
guys.
boss ruined it.
I know. If you have any mailbag, guild spotlight, topic for the show, questions for the host, or anything along those sort, or if you just want to tell us that Ryan sucks, you can send all those emails to road@twoncamera.com. And for our contact information for the hosts, especially for guys that suck like Ryan, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at @Garbrack.
That's not your Twitter.
It is my Twitter.
It is now because he had to change it.
Yeah, I fixed it.
He messed up on the show image, so he had to change it to make sure that he hadn't actually messed up. I'm not letting you get away with that.
To give people context, I made the show image and I put @Garbrack for my Twitter. That wasn't my Twitter. It is my Twitter now. So I didn't actually screw up. I was just preemptively correcting it. So yeah, you can get me on Twitter @Garbrack. You can find me on TESOelite.com. You can email me at garbrack@TESOelite.com. You can catch me here every Wednesday night now, possibly.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
If not here, you can catch me on Sundays or anywhere. I'm alone.
We'll figure something out. Ethan, where can we find you?
You can find me at tamrielfoundry.com, which is shown on the screen for those of you that can see it. That's where you'll find the interview we were all talking about. I am also on Twitter at Sir Isari, because Isari was taken by what looks like a tie hooker.
Oh, that's ammunition if there ever was one.
And I haven't changed it yet.
That tells us.
All right, Carlos, where can we find you?
You can find me at alistair@bucklanddying.com. Send me an email, or you can go to legend-gaming.net and go to the Buckland Dying website, and I'll be all over the place because I'm the recruitment officer, so I'm always watching everything. And so, yeah, I also have Alistair_LG Twitter, but don't waste your time. I never check that, so, yeah.
And he loves cats.
He does.
I don't love cat. I don't know what is up with that cat with the Nord.
It was a last-minute thing, man.
Where do I get one of those cool drawings? I want a cool drawing. I didn't get mine. I know that I had to send an email to somebody so they would make it, but I didn't. Now I have this cat.
We'll talk about that later.
I mean,
You know what? You're gonna have
black.
a cat image.
The cat's black.
Cat
That's
image every week.
racist. Honestly. It's just because I'm Brazilian. I knew that.
All right.
Put a picture of your nuts up there. Your Brazilian nuts.
So,
Not again.
Not this again. All right. If you would like to get a hold of me, you can find me on the Twitter @ThatRoadGuy. I'm also on twoncamera.com somewhere. If you would like to send me emails, like I said above, you can send it to road@twoncamera.com. Although the easiest way to get a hold of me is on Twitter. And with that said, I don't even really know where to take it from here, because there's just so much insanity going on. I can't even think of an outro for this anymore. So, I used to be an adventurer like you, until I took an arrow in the knee.